Hello, and welcome to my Diversity in Writing video series. In each installment of this video series, I highlight an author who brings unique and original contributions to the literary world, and who truly brings a new perspective to their writing. Today's video features William Faulkner. He's a modernist writer whose writing often encompasses themes and traits of the Deep South at an earlier time in American history. So, like other modernist writers, Faulkner did not adhere to the typical writing standards and essentially wrote in a non-traditional way, a style that was unique to him. For Faulkner, his pieces could be characterized as consisting of interior monologues and streams of consciousness, and he kind of steered away from using typical narration or first-person perspective. So, where a writer grew up and the experiences they had sometimes influences the perspective a writer takes in crafting their pieces. For instance, Faulkner was from the northern part of Mississippi, and this background is seen through his depiction of the Deep South. Now, if you've ever met anyone from the southern part of the United States, or you've been there yourself, you've probably noticed that the people there tend to articulate their words a certain way, kind of as though it's a part of the culture of those living in the Deep South. So, what Faulkner does in his pieces is he encompasses this way of speaking and grammar and the vocabulary commonly used in the South. In some of his texts, such as I Lay Dying, he's really able to articulate the Southern voice and help the reader feel as though they really are a part of the Deep South themselves, and it helps with the overall immersion into the text. Continuing along the lines of Southern influences in Faulkner's writing, many of his novels take place in the fictional county of Yoknapatawpha. Through this setting, readers encounter characters that are a reflection of real people in Southern counties during a historical time period, such as runaway slaves and former plantation owners. We can also understand Faulkner's viewpoint and portrayal of the South, and consider what's changed and what's remained the same when it comes to historical societies in the South. One aspect of Faulkner's writing that really intrigues me is that it gets me to question reality and question what's happening in the text. Sometimes in his pieces, Faulkner will explain what's going on in the present and then go back and explain something that's happened in the past. I've seen this distorted chronology before in text, and I feel like it helps the author entice the reader first, then go back and provide context and background information on the situation. Another technique Faulkner incorporates into his writing is the blending of narration and storytelling among different characters. So what I mean is he'll recount the same event or story, but from three different perspectives, as is seen in his 1936 book, Absalom. It really gets the reader to think about which character is telling the truth and which interpretation is the closest to what actually happened. In this way, Faulkner introduces the idea that perhaps there isn't one set truth about history and reality, but instead it's all a matter of perspective, which can vary from person to person based on experiences and background. It's this idea that I believe he was referring to when he said, quote, "Facts and truth don't have much to do with each other." He also combines what's mythical with what actually happened in the story, and it creates this magical realism that later authors would incorporate into their own writing. The final point I want to make about Faulkner is the density of his writing. What I mean is that his writing is very complex and intricate, and it may take some time to understand. In my opinion, I think this density of writing is seen a lot when you read literature or pieces that were written over 100 years ago, kind of like the pieces you might study in depth in literature class. I know these complex pieces may take a lot of energy to comprehend, but it's well worth it because in the end you walk away feeling as though your mind has been blown away by the revolutionary ideas and deeply considered concepts that have been presented to you through an author's writing. That concludes this installment of my Diversity in Writing series. If you haven't heard of Faulkner, hopefully now you're ready to check out some of his works. Otherwise, I just hope you learned something new and enlightening in today's video. I can't wait to see you guys in my next installment. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!